everything that you have now, especially the people that can afford to have everything that they want on a silver platter.
A lot of people have to work very hard to get what they have, and to not be grateful when you finally get it, it's just being selfish.
There are so many people less fortunate that you have to be grateful for everything you have.
I mean, you can't take everything for granted, or one day it could just all be gone.
Yeah, I think you have to be grateful for everything you had. I mean, I never really had to live a tough life. So, I'm grateful for that. And I know people around the world are suffering and whatnot.
Some people that are less fortunate and stuff might not have the things that you have, so you shouldn't abuse what you have, I guess, and should be thankful for everything that you get.
You should be thankful for what you have because there's other people in the world that don't have anything, and you're lucky that you have stuff.
There's people in different countries who have no clothes and nothing to eat. We take things for advantages, you know what I mean? You should be thankful for what you have.
Everyone should be grateful for what they have because someone somewhere else in the world doesn't have what you have, and you should be grateful that you have everything that you have, whether it be something small or something large. I think you should be.
Do you know people who never seem to be happy with the way they are?
They want to be taller or thinner, have curlier hair or a better voice.
They aren't pretty enough, smart enough, popular enough, or appreciated enough.
They wish they came from a famous family or had more money.
Some people are never satisfied with what they have been given or what they've accomplished.
Do you recognize a little of yourself in one of these descriptions?
If we were honest about it, I'll bet we would all catch ourselves taking things for granted.
That is what we'll be talking about on our show today, becoming a more thankful person. Hi everyone, I'm John.
And I'm Alicia.
And this is Real Faith TV. In the open of our show, we heard from the teens on the street talking about whether they think that they should be thankful and grateful for what they have.
We will talk with our studio guests about this topic and also meet our spotlight guest, Nicole, who talks about what she has to be thankful for.
But first, let's go back to the teens on the street and find out if they actually take the time to thank the people who show them kindness.
Did you ever take time out to thank people for their kindness and love that they show you?
Yeah, definitely, especially my parents. They're always there for me, and I thank them as much as I possibly can.
Besides my family, not really.
I don't take time out, but they know, Like, they just know that I feel that way.
I should do it more often. I don't do it enough.
I mean, you have to, because then by them showing kindness to you and you thanking them for that, it's kind of returning the favor. And, a few more nice people in the world always helps.
In different ways, I don't say thank you, but I just let them know that I care about them too.
But not as much as I probably should.
I need to thank my mom more, though. She drove my car all the way down here in the pouring rain yesterday, and I didn't thank her enough.
I love everyone. I love my friends. I love my family, and I tell them all the time. I'm very open about it.
I thank my family, my friends all the time as much as I can. Try being a nice guy.
Let's meet our guests and find out how they feel about being thankful and grateful.
All right, with us today we have Chris, Megan, Ross, Vanessa, Sarah, and Meredith.
Do y'all think it's important to be grateful and to thank people for the kindness that they show you?
Yeah, I definitely think it's important, especially if someone goes out of their way to be nice to you or do something for you. I think it's really important to show that you're appreciative towards them.
And I agree with what the teens on the street said, how there are people on other sides of the world that don't have exactly what you have, so you can't really be selfish with it. You should be grateful and take the time to thank people that gave you what you have.
Exactly. I think what the teen said on the street was really great because even if you have something big or small, it doesn't matter. You should be thankful for what you have because there are people that have nothing.
And I think it also can brighten someone's day when you say thank you. Even if it's at a fast food place or something like that, and they just always do the same thing, and then you're like, thank you, and they're like, oh,
yep.
Oh, you're welcome. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, and adding on to what Meredith said, it's like the man who complained about not having any shoes until he met another man that didn't have feet.
Sometimes we are changed by events that challenge the way we think.
For instance, we may be grateful for our less than perfect parents when someone we know loses a parent.
These are hard lessons to learn on the way to become more thankful.
The events of 9/11 helped our spotlight guest Nicole appreciate people more.
Let's meet her now as she talks about the importance of being grateful.
I do try to take the time out to show people how grateful and thankful I am because it is such a nice gesture and it just shows that I appreciate what they're doing. Without realizing how thankful or grateful you are, that you'll go through life and you'll never really be happy because you'll always want more. And without like stepping back and realizing, oh, this is what I have and it is pretty good, you're not going to be happy in life. I think I would be especially thankful for how I was brought up, because it really has led me to the person I am today. And without my background and without everything not only my parents did for me, but my other family and my relatives and my friends, I don't think I would be the person I am today. So I'm thankful for that. There are a lot of physical things I'm especially thankful for, such as my house and my clothes and everything like that. But I think it comes secondary to what's like really important, which is people. After September 11th, just because my dad used to work in Wall Street and I had a lot of relatives who used to work there, and luckily they were all safe. But I was really thankful for like everything, because after that incident happened, it seems like the world came together, and it just seemed so dangerous because we weren't used to anything that happens like this before, and it just really made me realize that, you know, all the stuff I have and the people I have in my life. We all see those infomercials about the starving children in Africa and people in third world nations who are going hungry, and of course that makes me feel thankful that I don't have to worry about where my next meal is coming from. And it's so easy to forget that people in the world actually do have to worry about that. I think there are a lot of ways that I can show my community that I am very thankful by helping out, whether it be locally at, you know, a soup kitchen or a children's shelter or even a nursing home, and just being with people and helping them out in any way that I can. I think it is very important to thank God, because there's so many things that I have or that you have, and we take it for granted sometimes, and it's important just to step back and realize and thank God that we do have everything.
Can any of you think of any specific things or people that you're especially grateful for?
I'm really thankful for my family, my 3 sisters and my mom, because we're all incredibly close, and I always have the most fun and I never laugh as hard as like when I'm with my family. And I love that, and it makes me even more thankful when I see other people, my friends that aren't close with their family, because I can't imagine that, because my family is, you know, my center and everything.
Yeah. Right, obviously my family, you know, grateful for them bringing me into life, that's key. But I mean my friends too, because, you know, how upset would everybody be if they didn't have friends? So I think they're pretty important, and I'm thankful that I have them.
I would also agree with Vanessa and Ross. I definitely think my family I'm so thankful for them, and my parents especially. They have done so much for me. And my brother's always been there for me, to talk to me, and just when I'm upset about anything, or I need to talk, or they're always there for me, and I'm so grateful for that I have someone to talk to and people to share things with.
I think I'm also thankful for, and as I'm sure everyone else is, my relationship with God. I'm happy that I was born to a family that put an emphasis on being religious and going to church, and I think that my relationship with God is something I'm really, really happy I have.
I'm really grateful for my parents, because when I was younger they adopted me and they took me out of like a bad situation and they brought me up, and now they gave me like a really nice life. So I'm really grateful that they took the extra step and they did that for me.
I'm so grateful for my parents too. Like, you know, sure they do a lot of big things for me that you like, you know, house and clothes and everything, but I'm really grateful for the little things that most people don't usually get, because I have great parents. So, like, you know, we're very lucky. Like anyone that has like a loving family, you should be really grateful for it. Like in the small things, like I'm just so grateful for, like my dad like waking me up, or like when I'm sleeping he'll check on me and make sure I'm like, if I come home late or anything. It's just like things like that tell me that he really does love me, and like it's just amazing, like the feeling of thankfulness that I have.
Yeah, I'm also very thankful for my family, especially for all the lessons, the life lessons they've given me. The strong faith I have in God is very much because of them. And as John was saying, all the little things that they do for me, especially my parents, like my mom, all the home-cooked meals she gives, the time she takes out of her day. I mean, we have an enormous family, and there's so many other things that she could do, but she takes the time to prepare each meal, and it's just delicious. And I'm so thankful for that, because it makes it makes life a lot better.
Do you think it is important to thank God for the gifts you have?
That is what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Do you think that it is important to thank God for what you have?
Yeah, I think I should. I think it's important.
Do you ever thank Him?
Not always. Not always. Sometimes. Yeah, I thank Him a lot because without my family and everything like that, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be in a box or something like that. Wouldn't be where I am today. Probably be a lot like dead or pregnant or diseased up or something, you know.
I should probably thank Him more often for a lot of stuff I've gotten that I don't think maybe I should have deserved as much as it.
No, I don't really thank God that much, but I try to just be thankful.
I'm not really that religious, so, you know.
I don't believe in God, but I think He should, and I think I should as well.
So, I mean, if it wasn't for Him, what would we have? But yeah, I do thank Him for all the good stuff that He made, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta stay on his good side, you know, like, you don't wanna get him pissed at you.
Yeah, when going to church makes you, it's thanking God of bringing you to the earth and having a good life.
It's just kind of thanking Him, returning the favor once again, because we're lucky to be in the positions that we are, most of us, and it's always good to know that somebody's looking out for you.
For those that believed in God, most of them agreed that it was important to thank Him, but some of them didn't even make the time to do it. Do you guys ever thank God for the things that He's blessed you with in your life?
Yes, I thank God every day. I thank Him in the morning when I wake up, and it's the last thing I say at night before I go to sleep. I just think it's so wonderful to thank God for everything He's given us, and He put us here on earth to live and have a happy life and to carry out His mission, and I just think it's important to thank Him for everything He's given us.
And also all the little simple things, like waking up in the morning and being like, wow, I'm awake this morning, I can look outside and see the trees, and I can hear the birds chirping, you know, like all those things are little blessings that so many people just overlook without thanking God for them.
I think that I'm actually one of the people who overlooks that, you know. I go to church on Sunday, I thank God at church, but, you know, I don't wake up every morning and thank Him, and I should, and I don't fall asleep every night and say, you know, thank you for letting me have this day, and thank you for letting me sleep tonight. You know, I look at the birds, and I see them, I don't really usually thank Him, and I probably should do that more often.
I think a lot of times when you pray, a lot of times you pray asking God for something, and I think sometimes you should take time out and just pray, thanking God for all that He's given you.
I always, when I was younger, I never used to thank God, but once I was at church and the priest was talking about how people always ask God for things and they don't ever thank God, and that really clued me in, and I was just thinking about it, and the priest said, you know, the angels were sent down to collect all the prayers, and they were all for asking God for things and not thanking God for things. And it just really made me think that, you know, I need to thank God more, and I don't. And I think a lot of people don't. And it's just, it made me thank Him every day, and that's why I do.
It's so true. Everything you have in your life is God's gift.
I really agree with what one of the kids on the street said. He was like, where would we be without God? Like, where would we be? I mean, we wouldn't have half the things that we have, and like, we should really owe it to Him and thank Him, just like we thank the people that are in our lives now.
And I always thank God for like nature. Like we always say in my family, like, thank you God for my eyes to see. Like when we see a beautiful sunset, or when like this past weekend we just like hiked a mountain, we were looking out and we could see for miles, and like we just kept saying like, thank you God for my eyes. So, like, thank you for all the beautiful nature He's given us, like the ocean and the clouds and like everything, just for our enjoyment. You know, it's amazing.
I think in this country, a lot of the time, people feel entitled to the things they have, and they say, well, I worked really hard for this, and I worked to make a living, and things like that. But what we don't realize is the things that we work for and people that we work to please in our lives, we wouldn't have them without God. And I think that the smaller things, even things that we might not like sometimes, like school or other things like that, they open doors for us and they're opportunities, and they're things that we should be thankful for and kind of take and say, well, God, you gave me this, and even if it's something I don't necessarily like right now, I'm sure it's a blessing. Like if something really hard comes at us, we might say, why did you do this to me, God? But maybe we should be thankful and say, well, you're making me stronger and you're testing me. You're making me a better person.
To become more grateful people, we must trust that God knows our needs better than we do.
All our life experiences show us that God provides for each of us in abundance.
We have more than we will ever need.
If we trust that God will always care for us, then we have no reason to want for more than we need.
We can be thankful to God for his daily love and care.
We do not need to be anxious about tomorrow because God is faithful.
In our next segment, Nicole tells us what she thanks God for.
Let's check it out.
I try to be optimistic as much as I can, and of course there's times where I'm really not, but I try to have a positive demeanor about myself because when you have that positive outlook, just things seem to be better. I remember I went to this youth leadership camp called Anytown, and one of the activities we did was called the Privilege Line. And there was about 80 kids, 80 teenagers in the camp, and we all stood outside in a big parking lot, and we all started in the same line. And we were asked to close our eyes, and they asked us questions. And the questions ranged from anything like, did your parents ever read to you when you were a child, or have you ever taken a family vacation? And if the answer was yes, you would take a step forward. If the answer was no, you would take a step back. And there were some questions like, have you ever been discriminated against, or have you ever had to worry about where to get food for dinner? And then, of course, people who had to answer that would take a step back. And by the end of the line, there were about 50 questions. And at the end of the line, we were asked to open our eyes but not talk. And I opened my eyes and I realized that I was at the front of the line. And I looked back, and there were some people in the middle, scattered all around, and then there were some people who were way back, like past the cars, past the parking lot. And it just really made me realize how lucky and privileged I was. And it was definitely an eye-opening moment, and one that I haven't really forgotten, because I really realized that there was so much that I had, and I never really thanked like my parents for that, or just how the fairness in the world, things that like people can't even control, like discrimination, and just being, I guess, like how I am and how I was brought up and where I was brought up, that I didn't really have to face some of the things that other people had to face. So it made me very thankful for what I had. My faith teaches me just to not always want what you don't have, and just to be grateful for what you do have. And instead of always like wanting more, it's important to enjoy life and to be thankful for the things you already have. I try to show my gratefulness, and I do pray to God, and I try to pray before I go to sleep and in the morning, and just to have like a little prayer thanking God for my family and my friends and my health.
What are some of the ways that you all show your thankfulness to God?
I think it's important to do service and to help people that are less fortunate than us, because we're really so lucky and so blessed with all that we have. And it says in the Bible that to whom much is given, much is expected, and that we have all these blessings and all these gifts, and that we need to share that with people that don't have them. So volunteering or whatever.
I think one of the great experiences I was lucky enough to do this year was my youth group went to Habitat for Humanity in Pennsylvania. And it was just a really good experience to be able to build houses for people, because I think having a place to live is something we take for granted. We don't realize there are people out there who don't even have a roof over their head. So to be able to build houses for these people was great.
You have to remember also that we live in the most privileged and most wealthy country in the world. And some people might not be happy with what they have here. They would wish their parents made more money so they could live a better lifestyle in their eyes and everything. But think about some of the kids in Africa and some bad parts of Europe, and even in our own country, you have almost nothing. And going to high school for them would be like an accomplishment that only 1 in 100 of them could achieve. And all of us are going to go to high school and everything. And it's just, it's amazing how much we have, and we should be so thankful to God. We're on the top echelon of everything. We're in the top percentile for money, for where we live, and for the food that we eat and everything. And most people don't. They just take it for granted. They're not thankful at all, and it breaks my heart.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's so sad that people have become desensitized. Again, going to high school or college, where now you take for granted, oh yeah, well, almost everybody goes to college. Well, it would be a dream for people in Africa to get any schooling, let alone, college,
I was going to say, a simple way to thank God is just go to church. I mean, I know a lot of my friends, they go to church, but a lot of my friends don't go to church. And I mean, even if you go to church, that's all well and good, but listen to what the priest has to say, try to, take something in, learn from the experience. I have this one friend, and we were talking, like I sat with him at church one day, and he goes, when I was little, my mom said, when I prayed at church, I could get, whatever I wanted. God was listening and he would give me what I wanted. So I would pray that this was the quickest mass I have ever been to. And like, it kind of took me a second. I was like, wow, like a lot of people don't realize, going to church is a gift. Some countries you can't go to church. You'll be prosecuted for believing something different than the king.
Another simple way to show how grateful you are is just to pray. And it's also something else that I've done is worked at Catholic Charities, and that really opened my eyes up because just working especially near the holidays like Thanksgiving, which is a big one, there are tons of people that come in, families with 4 or 5 kids. They come in looking for food, and just you give them the turkey and just their dinner, and you just kind of think to yourself, wow, I'm going home to a feast for Thanksgiving, and I'm giving these people food, and this is what they're going to have at their meal for Thanksgiving. And it really opens your eyes and just makes you so grateful for everything you have, and it's a wonderful thing to do.
I think sometimes we watch TV and we see, lifestyles of the rich and the famous and things like that, and we look around and we see other people that have maybe more than we do. And by nature, of course, we want to have as much as we can and things like that. But sometimes, it takes a lot for us to step outside of ourselves and be like, well, I really want this new pair of shoes or something like that. But it might be better if instead I take that money, and that money could subsidize housing and food and education for a child somewhere else that might not be as, fortunate as I am. And I think that sometimes it's easy to close our eyes to those people because they don't, sometimes they don't live around the corner. They live on the other side of the globe or the other side of the country, or, they just aren't constantly with us. And the things that are with us are things that make us want more and more because our society is a commercial society, and they want us to, be greedy and to want things that, we sometimes really just don't need, and we should just be thankful for all the stuff we do have.
I think a good way to show your thankfulness to God is just simply helping other people. There's a saying called "live simply, so others can simply live." So if I try to conserve so much, just a little bit, I don't need 2 cars. I don't need all this stupid stuff that we have that we don't really need. I need 3 things to go along with my main dish at dinner instead of just eating 1 main course, know what I mean? And instead, if I just took a little bit of the excess stuff that I have and give it to charity, it makes such a difference if everyone in the world did that. I remember there was a commercial once where it took 1/4 of all the food that we throw out, and we could serve half of Africa, half of the hungry in Africa. It was something ridiculous quote like that. And, that would be a good way to show your thankfulness to God, to give other people some stuff that, He gave you. I think He'd like that.
My sisters and I decided to do that. We realized that we had a little bit of money left over, from after working and expenses and stuff. So we decided that we were going to all chip in and, support a little boy from Africa. And it's really been an eye-opening experience because it's nothing to us. It's like $20 a month. So between 4 people, it's nothing. But just we get the letters from him, and it's how much he appreciates it. And now he can go to the Catholic school and have food to eat for all 3 meals. And it's amazing about how much our money here, we're at $20. You don't even think about it, but it goes so far there, and it can get him so much. It's amazing.
Can any of you think of any examples of people you could look to in history or in today's society of people that really show that they're thankful to God by serving others?
I think at our school, Christian Brothers Academy, it used to be, not anymore, but the majority of our teachers were brothers, laymen, that just all their life they put in service to God to help educate younger people. And I never really thought about it, but that's such a great way to thank God for all that He's given you by helping others.
you know, like, yeah, you have to give them a lot of respect. They give up their whole, like, normal life to go and take an oath of poverty and chastity and just sit there and, you know, pray and teach. And it's just amazing, you know. It's a good way to show thankfulness.
When you asked that question, I immediately thought of St. Catherine Drexel. She's one of the few American saints, and she was born into an incredibly wealthy family. And when she became of age, she gave it all up and used all her wealth to educate people and educate the poor and invite them into their house and feed them and everything. And, you know, she used what she had for God.
One very important way to thank God is through prayer. Thanksgiving is one of the 4 basic forms of prayer.
Another form of thankfulness can be called thanks-living. Christians serve the poor and needy as a way of returning to God the overabundance of blessings He has poured into their lives.
Some Christians give a portion of their income to the work of the church or to charity.
And teens show their thankfulness to God in all forms of Christian service. Some volunteer their time to teach younger children about faith.
Or collect food and clothing, stock pantries and shelters, prepare meals, and carry them to the homebound and the homeless.
What are you most thankful or grateful for?
We want to know.
Log on to our website.
You can post your thoughts on our message boards or drop us an email. The address is www.realfaithtv.com or call us at 609-406-7402.
And remember what Paul wrote in his first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 18. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing.
And in everything, give thanks.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time
on Real Faith TV.
God bless.